Hello and welcome to Producing with Jimmy. I'm Jimmy, and this is the channel where we discuss all things creative because creativity is a way of life. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you like this video, if you like my channel. It helps the channel grow, which in turn helps me make more videos for you. Today we are talking about low end. It's the thing all engineers and mixers and artists, they like to talk about it. They like to say the low end this, it's tight, it's too flabby, it's too tubby, it's too this, it's too that. What's going on with the low end? How do we make our low end sound appropriate and not muddy and exciting at the same time without hacking it all to shit with EQ? What axiomatic principle should we tether ourselves to in our production workflow that leads to big, beautiful, clean low end, which then leads to the Grammy nom? Today we are going to find out. Let's dive in. What I'm about to tell you may seem extraordinarily obvious, but you would be surprised. So many DIY productions suffer because of neglect for the obvious, or worse, lip service to the obvious, meaning you know the obvious thing, but you don't really adhere to the rules of the obvious thing. The following is an axiom to live and die by when you are producing your music. There can be only one lowest instrument. I told you it was going to sound obvious. Some of you are like turning this off right now, like, Jimmy, what the hell are you talking about? But trust me, anything from down in the 30s up through, I would say, like 150, that's your low end range. And you can layer things within that region as long as you keep this axiom in your mind. There can be only one lowest instrument. So the low end needs to be stratified in order to express itself in a way that is clean and clear. I'm going to dive into one of my own productions because I was using this principle a lot this week. This is a song unreleased called How Do You Do It, which is really a perfect title for teaching a lesson to. How do you do it? As always, listen in headphones or studio monitors if you can. You're going to get the most bang for your buck with this lesson if you do that. So let's listen to the track. Pay close attention to the low end. Here we go. How do you do it? Sounds pretty good. Let's isolate the bass elements of this track. In all productions that are fleshed out, you're going to find that the kick and the bass guitar really take up a lot of the real estate in the overall mix. So let's listen to the kick and the bass together. Now, I made the decision to play the bass with a pick because it's got that driving eighth note feel to it. Now that automatically makes it so that the bass appears as though it's above the kick drum, which means that between the two of these instruments, the kick drum really is lower, or at least it kind of sonically appears lower or feels lower, right? One more time on that. So right off the bat, I'm making a decision about how I'm going to play that bass because I know that in this arrangement, I want the kick to sit lower than the bass. This is all before any mixing is done. Now watch what happens to the low end when I move into the next section of the song. notice how in that section, as the song progresses and grows, remember we want our productions to grow so that they remain interesting all the way through. Notice how there's this sub-bass sound that comes in. Let me highlight that for you. Real big, lots of sub frequency, big sub frequency. So does that bass guitar and that sub bass fit together because I did some kind of crazy EQ compression processing to it? No, it's much simpler than that. And it flows from that axiom. There can be only one lowest instrument in the arrangement. So if you notice as we progress, as we move forward, as that sub bass joins the arrangement, the bass part moves up the neck and I start to play it almost like it's a guitar. So it's higher on the neck and that automatically removes a lot of the tubby low end from it. Listen to those two things together. Here comes the sub. They fit together perfectly, not because of processing, because of arrangement. There can be only one lowest instrument. Let's go ahead and listen to that with the kick. This is your low end. Now with that kick, I did a sample replacement. So I blended the live sound of the kit with a sample replacement. And in that sample replacement, I was looking for a really thwacky kind of sound because while I want that nice push from the low end and the kick, I want that, I don't know, tacky, thwacky like punch from the top of it. So here it is without that sample. Not bad. Here it is with the sample. Just punchier, right? Now here's where I did do a little bit of processing afterwards. If you look at the drum bus here, I've got the high pass filter turned on at 80 Hertz, which is allowing that sub bass to express itself way down low because there can be only one lowest instrument in the mix. This will all be finessed later when I mix the song, but this is just so that I can get an approximation of where I want this to go, because I don't want to be making creative decisions about the stratification of my low end when it comes time to mix. I want that decision to be made in the moment, because that's where arrangements that have conviction flow from, saying, this is how I want it. This is my imagination at work within the DAW. This is my dream in the DAW. So let's listen to all that together. So that's your low end right there. That's a stratified low end. You've got three bass elements that are really working together, with the sub bass being the lowest, the kick kind of sitting slightly higher than that, and then the bass guitar slightly higher than that. Let's go further then. I've got these cello stabs. That's what I'm calling them. They sound like punchy, stabbing cello sounds. Let's listen to those with the other low end elements. Those cello stabs, that synth part that I added, appears to sit just above the bass guitar now. So you've got, in order, you've got your sub bass followed by your kick, followed by your bass guitar, followed by your cello stabs. Everything is kind of stratified in that order. And it sounds automatically pleasing because it was crafted with the idea that there can be only one lowest instrument. I know, it's really simple, but it really does change the way that you approach arranging things, because you stop piling things on top of each other. You can get away with layering more in the upper region, in the highs and the high mids, and in the air region. But in the low end, There can be only one. You ever see Highlander with Christopher Lambert when he was like, there can be only one? Remember that? Me and my brothers must have quoted that to each other every day for a summer after we watched that movie. There can be only one, though, okay? The rules of Highlander apply to low end, is what I'm trying to tell you. And if you haven't seen Highlander, you got to see it. It's wonderfully bad. Let's go forward in the arrangement. I'm trying to show you the way this thing is stacked from the bottom up. Next up, we've got a picked acoustic guitar. Let's listen to that all together. And this is all just in the intro of the tune. So while that acoustic guitar does have low end, that kind of, it's almost like a boxy thing that all acoustic guitars have, I am using this sound for its pickiness, okay? For its momentum, the momentum that's generated from that picky sound, which really is expressing itself further up in the frequency spectrum. So far, everything is just lining up really, really well. I'm going to bring the rest of the arrangement in at this point, because the rest of the stuff in the arrangement starts to fall in the category of mids and high mids. Let's listen to everything together here. Sounds great. This isn't mixed, okay? This is all crafted with the idea that you're not stacking a bunch of low-end, muddy things on top of each other. A lot of times, people try to fix this stuff in the mix. That used to be me. I used to get really inspired and throw everything I could find really quickly, just this big old pile. And then I'd be like, well, I need the EQ to fix the muddiness because it's muddy. No, it's muddy because it's muddy, okay? It's not muddy because you need to process it so it's not muddy. It's always going to be muddy if it's a muddy arrangement. Does that make sense? I think it does. So let's move forward in the arrangement. We're going to the bridge section. This is where things start to get really exciting. And let's listen to the guitars, the electric guitars in that part of the song. Because the low end was so firmly established and so well stratified by the time I got around to adding these electric guitars, I knew I had to be careful and be very patient with crafting the tone of them. What that means is that on the way in, I had to be really careful to sculpt these tones so that they fit squarely within the frequency region that I wanted them to. That meant being aggressive with rolling out the bass or rolling out the resonance. It's really that simple, you know? An electric guitar has within its availability tones that stretch way down into the lows, tones that stretch into the exact region that many people are trying to carve out at mixdown. Listen to these again. They could be described as thin, maybe even thinner than you'd want them to be if you remove all the context, as I'm doing for this demonstration. But listen to them within the mix. Listen to them within the arrangement, that stratified low end. Listen to where they sit and how cleanly they sit without all of that low end baggage. I get excited, okay? None of that is mixing. None of that is manhandling EQs or compression. It all stems from this idea that you are stratifying the low end. There can be only one lowest instrument, and the rest of the decisions within your production should flow from that axiom. Yeah, I mean, I get pumped up. It's so fun. Making music is so fun. And that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you liked this video. It helps to grow the channel. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I really do love hearing from you guys. And as always, if you want to go deeper and you want to support this channel, go to the link in my description. I've got a link for my Patreon community there, okay? It's in its early stages and I am building it. I would appreciate your support. It's very affordable and I'm basically putting up a video of exclusive content every week on there. So if you want to support this channel and you also want to learn more and go deeper with some of the stuff that I'm talking about, hop on there, go to the link in my description and become a member today. Thank you so much to those who have already signed up. I am so humbled by that. The support means the world to me. You guys go out there, stratify your low end. There can be only one. Watch Highlander. I hope you're having a great summer. Love you guys. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.